Good Thursday evening, one and all. Welcome to yet another edition of Thursday Night Geeks, presented by FanSets. We, of course, are the Trek Geeks. I'm Bill Smith, and he is Lifetime Achievement Award winner Dan Davidson.
Yes.
Although I'm not sure whose lifetime you had any achievements in. I don't think it was your own.
Not at all. Not at all. Good to see you, buddy. Great to be here. And thanks to everybody for joining us for a fun episode tonight.
You know, we had no idea this was going to happen before yesterday, but when the universe opens up and gives you an Oscar winner, an Emmy winner, somebody who's worked with some of the best actors in the world, like Pacino, Beatty, Patrick Stewart, for crying out loud, you accept that invitation. Plus, it'll be interesting to see, Doug was way up here with those people, and now, unfortunately, I mean, he's talking to us, and we're way down here. So the dichotomy there is we're going to do our damnedest to make this a great night.
Absolutely. Yeah, we certainly are. It's great to be here. I'm very excited. We didn't really even know what we were going to be talking about. And then the idea hit me, reached out, and here we are. It's great to see everybody, or it's great to have everybody join us again. Of course, last week we were not on. We are still mourning the dear loss of our sister Sabrina from the Sci-Fi Sisters, and I believe we're going to do a tribute for her next week. But it felt right. She would want us to get back in these chairs and to be having fun and laughing, and that's what we're going to do tonight, and have an incredible conversation.
Absolutely. We're looking forward to this. In fact, Dan, let's flash back to a couple of years ago here really quickly. And who's that dude in the middle of us two idiots?
I know. That is an Oscar and Emmy Award winner, I will say, Mr. Doug Drexler.
Our special guest tonight. And I'm still kind of stunned. I mean, the fact that the restraining order's been lifted and he's able to talk to us now is nothing short of amazing. Before we progress any further, Dan, it's Thursday. That means I need to know, what are you drinking?
Oh, well, you'll be proud of me, but you might laugh a little bit.
I doubt that, but
so I'm going old fashioned with an old fashioned, but since Halloween is tomorrow, it is a apple cider maple old fashioned.
And of course there's maple.
Fantastic.
Who was it that introduced you to old fashions? Let me just
that would be an incredible podcaster friend of mine that I know by the name of Bill Smith.
Oh, thank you.
He did introduce me to it, and I've been enjoying it. This one's great. It's got a nice sweetness to it. I love apple. It's Halloween tomorrow. I figured why not? And it's damn good. How about you, man?
I'm actually drinking a mojito tonight in my Leonard Nimoy Star Trek 2009 glass, which is the only reason I have this glass, because it has Nimoy. I mean, of course it has Zach Quinto on the back, but I mean, it's got Leonard, and how can you go wrong with that?
Absolutely.
So that's what we are drinking. We have an amazing guest tonight. We're going to do our best to not laugh too much, but that's probably a lie.
No, it's very much a lie. That's what we do here on the show. Yeah,
that's probably a lie. So we're gonna set the table. We're gonna come right back with the one, the only, the lovely and talented Doug Drexler in just 1 second. Stay right there. There he is. Look at that.
Look at that. Magic. It is great. So I got to say, we're absolutely thrilled. And frankly, I got to admit, we're a little starstruck to welcome a true titan of film. Come on now. When we talk about the look and feel of modern science fiction, and especially the Star Trek universe, it's impossible not to talk about the work of our guest tonight. He's an artist whose career spans special effects, makeup, illustration, graphic design, and visual effects, leaving an indelible mark on some of the biggest franchises in Hollywood. He's the visionary who sculpted unforgettable characters for Dick Tracy, work that earned him an Academy Award. And he's also a multiple-time Emmy Award winner for his breathtaking visual effects on shows like Battlestar Galactica. But for us Trekkies, he's a living legend. He's the man who created one of the most iconic ships in modern Trek, the USS Enterprise NX-01, and contributed his talents as a makeup artist, scenic artist, and illustrator across the Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, and Enterprise. Now his story is going to be told in an amazing new documentary called Trek Star, and we cannot wait to get the latest details and tell you all about how you can participate in the fundraising for this amazing project. Get ready to hear from the man who has literally shaped our view of the final frontier. Bill, we are so excited to join the one and only Doug Drexler to Thursday Night Geeks. Doug, man, it is so great to see you. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank goodness I'm the one and only is all I could say. Were they able to see me the whole time you were talking? Was I on the screen? I was?
You are. You're, live on screen. Hey, everybody.
I'm sure you'll meet my partner in a few minutes, Beaker Drexler.
Nice.
He has to be here whenever I'm, doing something on Zoom or on camera or something, right? You want to come over here right now, don't you? 42 years with this parrot. He runs my life.
As parrots should, I would say.
I know they are meant to be in charge.
So, of course, I just scratched the surface a little bit, Doug, about your incredible career. You've been, you're such a force especially with Star Trek, which is where we all know you from. And it's gone through so many years now. And of course, the big one, everybody talks about all the incredible work on Picard. I want to open up with that with a question to you. What was it like, and how did that all come together that you were asked to participate? And in my opinion, turned out probably the best season of any Star Trek across the 60 years with Picard
season.
It's a
wonderful gift. I mean, and honestly, I didn't think I'd ever be on Star Trek again. The new, regime wanted to do their own thing, and they didn't want influence from what came before. I get it. I understand that they want to do their own thing. I think that if you really, really know and love Star Trek, you probably know that that's doomed to failure. One of the things that fans, and I am a fan, from the very beginning. If you're a fan, you take that very seriously. You take what's come before very seriously. You've bought the books. You bought the encyclopedia. You've read all the novels. You got the blueprints. You know what level Transporter Room 3 is on. Right?
Right.
Exactly.
Find out that all of that doesn't count anymore. So it's like upsetting.
Yeah.
I think that by saying we're wiping the slate clean and we're going to go with our own rules, it's the Marvel multiverse thing that's happening, here and there now. I personally, I think multiverse is good in small doses. And I think that one of the things that makes Star Trek so fun and exciting is the continuity between all the years over the decades. Mm-hmm. And that if you know something, it's a historic drama.
Right.
No less than something about the War of 1812. And we already know what it looks like. You can clean it up and make it sleeker. But you can't just get rid of everything because you're going to offend some of your most important fans by doing that. People who love that continuity. And now I'm blathering away. Sorry.
No, that's perfectly fine. Hey, that's you can say anything you want to. Dan and I are just, pleased as anything to have you here tonight. It's a rare treat to have somebody who's been involved in so much Star Trek. To talk to two lowly podcasters.
And my career has been so eclectic. It's pretty rare that you run into somebody who slides sideways into doing other things,
Yeah.
Usually you get a career and you just hang on to that. But it was hard for me not to do that because I so enjoyed so many. And it was Star Trek that allowed me to do that because when you're on a television show that lasts, first of all, that era of Star Trek is not like any other era after Enterprise.
Right.
Because we were all on the back lot together, all within blocks of each other. The writers, the wardrobe, the visual effects, the mill was downstairs. Now everything is spread out all over the place in all different cities. And I've worked on shows like that where it works fine. You know, you have production meetings on Zoom and it totally works. But you're missing that personal touch, you know, of being together, seeing each other under all situations, you know. That era of Star Trek all through the 90s and the early 2000s was this incredible family that, I mean, you see a family in front of the camera, but there's a family behind the camera that probably has been going a decade before this cast came along, you know.
Easily.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting to see how you all reconnect in these years too, right? Because I mean, you know, after a job finishes, I'm sure you all go your separate ways. After, you know, 25 seasons or whatever it was of Star Trek consecutively finished between Next Gen and Enterprise, you know, I'm sure that, you know, everybody had jobs to do and went on and did them, but you guys are still kind of all connected on some degree, and I think that's beautiful.
We really are. It's really amazing. You know, it was always more than a job to a number of us.
Right.
I mean, especially Mike and Denise or Herman Zimmerman or John Eves, or we were all kind of, it was a amazing family feeling, especially after you knew each other for a few years. And it was an art department. Well, of course, I worked in the makeup department too, where I could just go on and on about Mike Westmore. How wonderful, how much I love him.
Yes.
I mean, he brought me onto Star Trek to start. And then it went from there. But I mean, we're still close friends. I'm going to see him soon, within the next week or two. Mike and Denise are like two of my best friends. We've been through death and life together, you know?
Yeah.
But the thing is that we were connected before we worked together. We were kind of bound together by the original series. There was something about that original series, and I don't care what generation that you enjoy the most, you cannot beat the original series. They invented it. Everything else is imitating them. So the original Enterprise, you will not get me saying that any other ship is better than that ship. It is, until Matt Jeffries did that design with Gene Roddenberry, we'd never seen anything like that.
Right.
That was totally nothing like what you saw in movies or TV. Of course, in science fiction literature, there were some unusual ships, but they'd never been visualized, you know. The Enterprise, when I saw the Enterprise, it literally knocked me back on my heels a little bit, how unique it was. And the whole idea that it didn't land, I hate it when they land starships. Don't land starships. I always remember Gene Roddenberry saying it's a creature of space, and I always loved that. It's not meant to land. Why land it? Why? You know?
Do you have a favorite episode of the original series, and has it changed over the years?
Yes and yes. My favorite originally was City on the Edge of Forever by Harlan Ellison. And there was all kinds of mythology behind what happened there. And, you know, I think that Harlan even wrote a book about his experiences of writing the script.
Mm-hmm.
And I love Harlan Ellison. I've read tons and tons of them, you know. And that was my favorite show. He gave the show a lot of credit, Harlan Ellison. I mean, he complained about that episode, but he's a diva, you know.
Harlan? No.
I love him for that, you know. But as I've gotten older, I found that my choice of favorite episode after 60 years is Metamorphosis.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
interesting.
That's incredible. Yeah.
So damn sweet and heart touching, and I learned things from that as I got older too. You know, Spock saying that you'll stay here, you'll age naturally, and he's like, you know, Spock, I kind of have come to think that maybe that's one of the nicer things about growing old,
Mm-hmm.
and that you do it together. And so that really impacted me as years went on. how insightful that show was about love. I get choked up thinking about it. Plus, the score.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Is so gorgeous. It's one of the most gorgeous scores. And they did such interesting things. First, of course, we'd seen the shuttlecraft in Galileo 7.
Yep.
But it really looked extra gorgeous in Metamorphosis. The angles that were used and the way it was lit, and that big planet set. The house.
Amazing.
The house is awesome. I love it to this day. It's like, what a great design. It's so Matt Jeffries. Glenn Corbett, was that from Cochrane?
Yep.
He's a great heroic character. He's handsome, and and I remember I had seen him earlier in an episode of 12 O'Clock High, which was based on the movie 12 O'Clock High with Gregory Peck, and it had Robert Lansing as the general in charge of the air base during World War II, and that's where I first saw him. And then I thought he totally killed it in Metamorphosis. His indignant, righteous rage at some point. I also love what they did. If you look at the wide shots where he's communicating with a companion, they got smoke like drifting through the scene, like clouds.
Yep.
That's extra hard. That's extra work. It would be easier for you to say, no, I don't, let's not do that. It's not going to match from shot to shot, but it brings the whole thing to life. It brings the environment to life.
I really love the idea that's now your favorite episode. That's not one that I would have ever guessed. I was thinking Balance of Terror or Corbin Might Maneuver or something like that. That's really great to see. With Metamorphosis, did you find yourself when First Contact came around trying to compare Cromwell versus the other character, or did it just seem to fit in good?
Yeah, it's okay that they're not the same guy because both guys did a great job.
Yeah,
I mean, Cromwell was awesome. I loved him as Cochrane.
Yeah, he was great.
I miss Corbett. But they coexist for me. I don't have a problem with them coexisting.
Speaking of coexisting, you talked about how the Enterprise is the ship that everything is built upon. Did you have very specific things that you really wanted to make sure got incorporated into the NX-01 that were successful? And part two of that question, did you have things that did not get to be put into the model? I think in the past I've seen you talk about if the show had gone on, there were going to be a refit and it was going to look a lot different. But what was that process like when you designed NX-01?
Well, of course, the ship took a lot of abuse when it first was seen, like they all do, basically.
Right.
But Enterprise was the first show that had instant feedback from fandom, and you may have noticed that on the internet it could get pretty heated, and that sometimes there are some people who just like to, and it becomes a feeding frenzy, and that there were things on the ship that resembled things from other ships. There was the Akira controversy, and I'm like, you guys are crazy because the whole Starfleet aesthetic is all borrowing from each other. Every ship has pieces of another ship.
Yeah.
They've been totally different. They're all based on Matt Jeffries' ship. Haven't they all stolen from him?
Exactly.
The beauty of the aesthetic is seeing the bloodline that runs through them. I made it a point of having things that we historically knew about and technologically were established, and having them there. And I think that as years went by, after our reign on Star Trek ended and the JJ era began, you started to get ships where that wasn't so important anymore. Mm-hmm. And I think that after so many years, when we came back on Picard, they were so happy that there were people who were doing the designs that knew what a reaction control thruster is, what a warp core egress is, what a transporter emitter is, what a finger strip is. We know what all of this is, and we make sure it's there. That's what's so cool about it. And like I said, it is a historic drama. If you're going to do a movie about Pearl Harbor, you don't give the Japanese F-15s because they're cooler. Yep. I mean, we showed that you could take the old designs and use them. And you could even sleek them up a little bit. Like we recreated the bridges from original series twice.
Mm-hmm.
And you can sharpen them up, make them a little smoother, but we already know what it looks like. Fans want to see that thing they fell in love with taken and polished up and made to look better, not thrown out. Especially in a show where you can have another starship later on and do whatever the hell you want. But we know what Pikes, and don't get me wrong, I think the work they did on A Stranger Worlds is really great.
Yeah.
But it's like I still have that nagging feeling that I already know what his bridge looked like. I love that monochromatic look that it had. It was more military. I would love to see that just sleeked out a little bit, you know. Anyway, don't get me started.
Which you did actually get on the NX-01 bridge. That was very much so with that one. I always thought.
Well, you know, the NX was from the very, very, very beginning. I had the model I was working on, and I had a model of the original series ship, and I would overlay them.
Yeah.
And I would say, okay, I want this to eventually become that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I could put some real life evolution. It's not just what I think is a cool design.
Yeah.
I'm trying to move towards this where it's going, and I know people will recognize it. Now, Russell Meyer in Manhattan printed me a 6-foot NX that I think shook the internet. I mean, it was amazing how many people loved it. And it's the first Enterprise that did not have a physical model. It was the first one that was under CG. So I had never seen. Yeah, I have a 2.5, 3 footer that they made. That's really nice. And I know every inch of that ship. But now I have it in my den. It's 6 feet long. I can walk all around it and see it in real space, you know?
Yep.
And actually, at this point, what has it been, 20 years?
Yeah.
See where I was trying to tie stuff together. Little tiny details that you would have to be an utter freak to even get, but was important. And I know that there are people who, when they see those things, I think the people, as they've had time to look at it, and first of all, see that we had a plan for evolution. To make it a ship that was earlier, you got to get rid of the secondary hull. That was added later on. That made perfect sense.
Mm-hmm.
It was the way to go. And I think that as people see the ship and see the thought, I guarantee you that there has never been more thought put into any of the ships than on the NX. I mean, me and Mike Okuda are like brothers. We spent so much time talking this thing out and how it works. And, you know, I'm super proud of the ship. It really, and I mean, there's a few things I would have done if I could have done differently. I thought it was too dark, photographed too dark. I think Enterprises should be bright. I would have given it a surface a little more like the original series ship, almost like a ceramic.
Yep.
I just thought that it tended to be a little dark and murky in space on the show. And one of the things I loved about the original series and even Next Generation was they were still shooting for stock footage. So every shot had to cut in with every other shot. So they were all lit a certain way.
Right.
And that was a distinctive look for the Enterprise on the original series. And I would say that I would think that 1/3 of all shots should be like that, where you can really see it and, you know, just be excited by looking at it. You know, it's gallant, you know, and to keep it dark and murky all the time, I thought worked against it. I think you could use that dark murkiness for certain dramatic situations, but beauty shots of the ship, like when you first see it, when you first come upon the ship, it's bright and it looks amazing, you know. Why am I in charge?
On that note, Doug, you talked about Mike and Denise a moment ago. When you think back to the original series and the original episodes, and then you think to the work that was done on the remastering, what is your preference? Because I know that there's a lot of. I beg your pardon?
The original, by far.
Yeah. Okay, I was going to say, I know that they did a lot of things to like spruce up the special effects and everything in the remastering, but like you said, that original is and always will be the original.
There was a lot of great work done on that. So if anyone's listening, let me say that at the outset. I think the error was in the choice of aesthetic for the thing. You can't do it like it's today. It's still 1966, 67, 68. The exterior has to work with the interior. You don't do any shots of the ship that aren't done with a dolly and a camera on some railroad tracks.
Right.
Right.
To get it to fit. There has to be degradation. You've got to have, a film site. You know how sometimes the ship looks so degraded on the original series, but it added a sense of reality to it. I thought that there was a disconnect from the exterior to the interior.
Okay.
It seemed like another universe out there. So one of the things that we did on Battlestar Galactica was try to match the style of the exterior shots of the ship with what the DP, Steve McNutt, was doing in the interiors. He shot it like a documentary. Camera was motivated by action in the room. You'd whip over and look over here and then do a snap zoom in, that there's a sense of reality to that. Look, I'm blathering off into Battlestar. Sorry.
No problem there.
Yeah. I mean, hey, someday Dan will watch Battlestar Galactica. I'm going to throw him under the bus here right now. He hasn't seen it yet.
I've only
knew that it really is easily one of the best space shows ever done, and it's actually more of a descendant of Star Trek,
absolutely,
than it is of the original Battlestar.
And believe me,
there, and he had those sensibilities, and you have to watch it and watch it.
I definitely will. I have seen the first episode of the first movie that came out, but it is something that I definitely want to. And
those actors, man, they killed every scene they were in. They were unbelievable.
Yeah,
I cried sometimes during that show.
I can. Yeah, me too.
Oh, now I'm getting the hate thrown at me.
Can you believe this guy? Oh my God!
Thanks, Bill.
My wife has been trying to get him to watch The Office for 10 years. So
which I'm watching.
Yeah, you've been watching it for 3. The show's only 9 seasons long, Dan.
Watch
What's
it.
That? Yeah, absolutely.
I will.
So before we go to break, Doug, I want to ask you really quickly. You mentioned earlier in the show that, you came on in the makeup department under Michael Westmore. How did that opportunity come about? Because it's not like, Michael was out there going, who can I get off the street?
It was not even possible. As a matter of fact, it's because of Dick Tracy, which is why Dick Tracy is the most important movie ever made to me. We had a lab in Brooklyn. We were part of the Dick Smith clique of, and I remember reading in Hollywood Reporter that Warren Beatty was going to do Dick Tracy. I've been reading Dick Tracy since I was little. And I just looked at John, and we both said to each other, whoever gets that is going to win an Academy Award, because we knew the potential for that. Now, we were contacted by a producer we'd worked with before. He was on this with Beatty. And we were like, oh, my God, they can't really be considering us. And we told Dick Smith, and Dick said, oh, chaps, you're never going to get it. You'll never get it. But they're going to go to Rick Baker or Greg Canham or Rob Bottin, or not you guys. And we actually went to have a meeting with Warren Beatty up at his house on Mulholland Drive. And he was a big shot at the time. Warren Beatty.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we were waiting. It was like going to visit E in The Incredibles, where they go to the gate and she's on. The dog grabs you by the wrist and takes you to the front door. We waited in his screening room for like 40 minutes. So he'd come bounding down the stairs, soaking wet in a towel, like right out of the shower. And it's like, we found out later that he liked to shock you. Anyway, I'm getting off the path here. What happened was that there's no way that we should have been able to work out here. And Dick Smith said that the head of the union was a terror and would never allow it. But what Dick wasn't counting on is the power of Warren Beatty at that time politically, and that he hadn't said yet whether this picture was going to be union or non-union. And of course, the union wanted it. It was going to be a big show.
Yeah.
And it was Howard Smith was the head of the union. Yeah, I remember he was tough. As a matter of fact, he was shot by a makeup artist leaving a makeup union meeting one night, and the bullet died. No, actually, that is true. This is actually a true story. He survived. But anyway,
wow.
Warren said, well, I think I'm going to do this as a union shoot. He goes, but I need these two guys.
Nice.
And the next day, Howard Smith drove us our applications to our lab. And it was like that amazing. So once I was in the union here, Star Trek became a possibility. Of course, that's what I was thinking the whole time. Oh my God, I could work at Star Trek. Because before that, it was an issue. Because I had talked to Bob Justman about it before they'd even shot a show. And he knew about the problem with the two unions, but as fates made it happen, Dick Tracy came to us, we got into the union, and as soon as Tracy was done, I literally begged Mike Westmore to let me work on the show. Please, can I work for Star Trek? And he's like, I don't understand. You're doing big pictures. I'm like, no, Mike, no. Don't you understand? It's always been about Star Trek. And he was a little worried and said, okay, you can come to work. No, I mean, it was, I spent a lot of time there for 3 years. And Mike is the best guy, the sweetest guy. I mean, I've been really lucky. I've had some amazing people and bosses I've met over the years, and Mike is just incredible. I mean, I've never seen him get bent out of shape. He always had a song in his heart, telling a joke, laughing, being funny. We used to sing in the makeup lab all the time with the ink spots, and it was awesome. But amazing. So that was a wonderful, wonderful thing for me. But I like to sketch and I like design, and I always loved Star Trek design. And so as a makeup artist, I was spending a lot of time on stage, and there's a lot of waiting around while they set up shots and things like that. And unlike most of the other people who work on the show, I was fascinated by the sets, and I explored those sets. I was very naughty. And actually, the great thing about those sets was that if you look behind things, you'd see things from the show before. There'd be remnants of Star Trek Phase 2 behind the wall.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's like being an archaeologist, a Star Trek Indiana Jones. But I spent a lot of time looking at those sets and just loving being in them, standing next to the warp core. Oh my God. That was mind-boggling to me. And so I really, really, really wanted to be in the art department. And I did Dick Tracy and I worked on Star Trek doing makeup. I need to do something else. And the art department was just calling me. And I ran into Mike Okuda. I knew who he was. And I ran into him on stage at the craft service table. He was getting a cup of coffee, and I embarrassed him. I was gushing all over this guy because I had been through all the sets, and I was seeing all the graphics and the panels and stuff in a way that you can't see on TV. And I'm like, my nose is against the plexi. Oh my God, this guy is unbelievable. He has everything figured out, and he's not kidding. I've always said that the best Star Trek stuff is, it reminds me of Epcot in a way. It's an experimental prototype spacecraft of tomorrow. You're not just doing a science fiction design. You're trying to figure out what it might. You're really putting serious thought into it. That's what makes Star Trek so different. Not all Star Trek. I've seen some where it's like, really? You took a rubber stamp and did 10,000 ships and thought no one would notice?
I wonder what show that was.
They don't understand Star Trek fans. And
no, it's true.
Star Trek fans, the details are.
Well, isn't that one of the things that was so great about Picard season 3? You had people running the show, and you and Mike and Denise and all the other people, behind the scenes that have the passion and the knowledge to do these stories in a way that we as the fans really appreciate. I think that that's one of the reasons why it was such a success. Is that love.
Really important to have someone at the head who loves the show in that special way, Yeah. I thought we had a lot of that in the 90s shows. one of the great things about the 90s shows is that there was an open door policy for script submissions, which brought in people who were passionate.
Mm.
That's part of what makes the show taste right.
Let's do this. Let's pause here for one quick second. We're going to put you in the green room for a minute, Doug. We're going to do our quick ad. We'll come back. We'll wrap up that thought, and then we'll talk about the documentary and spread the love, as it were. So, all right, we'll be right back. Stay right there. You see what I did there? I used the Paramount transition.
It's very nice. I like that.
See, it's all about continuity, Dan. It's really important.
That's why you're smarter than I am.
Well, I mean, I think that was just genetics. But Dan, we would be incredibly remiss if we did not thank our longtime partner, FanSets, who have been with us for just about 10 years coming up now. Yeah. And without them, this just wouldn't be the same show. We're so grateful to them for being our presenting sponsor for both Trek Geeks and Thursday Night Geeks.
Yep, absolutely. We love them. We love talking about their newest pins. Tonight is no different. We got some new ones that we want to tell everybody about from the upcoming Starfleet Academy series, premiering this coming January, by the way. It is the Starfleet Academy X Astris Scientia logo, which is very, very nice. I love that. I love the red.
Your Latin is astounding, but let's go.
Well, I don't think that I didn't go to YouTube to make sure I would pronounce it correctly, because that's exactly what I did. So another beauty from Strange New Worlds, from that amazing crossover episode, Those Old Scientists. It's the Lower Decks version of La'an, Noonien Singh. Very, very nice. I love that. And buddy, this is a biggie. It's one of the biggest sellers in Vegas this past summer, and one that people have been asking for since Lower Decks introduced it. It's the Cetacean Ops Delta. It is beautiful, it is gorgeous, and it is available in both pin and magnet form, as all of the Deltas are, right over there at fansets.com.
Unreal. I mean, it's amazing that Cetacean Ops has taken on a life of its own after years in the blueprints.
Always in the blueprint, yep.
I love the fact that it's a thing now, and the fact that they have their own Delta is a little weird, but I'm just going to love it because I love all
31 Delta.
Yeah, I'd never understood the Section 31 Delta. Yeah. I mean, they're a clandestine organization with a Delta?
As far as I'm concerned, you got two Deltas. You got the original, three. You got the original series Delta, you got the next generation Delta, and you got the Trek Geeks Delta. Those are the only three you really need to worry about.
I can't fault you on that. I really can't. Of course, Dan, we want everyone to go get those 3 pins and a whole bunch more. Get them, put them in your cart. And then as soon as you get to checkout, be sure to use the special discount code word Trek Geeks to get 10% off your entire order. That's Trek Geeks in all capital letters, no spaces, 10% off anything you buy on fansets.com. And of course, Dan, if you spend more than $30 on fansets.com, you get what?
A box of kitties?
No.
Free shipping.
Free shipping in the United States, Dan.
Yes. Love it.
This is where it goes back to you.
That's what I'm doing. I was just taking a breath. You were too fast. FanSets. Our pins have character, and we thank our friends at FanSets for being the presenting sponsor of Thursday Night Geeks.
Back now with the lovely and talented Doug Drexler. And Doug, as you can see, we spare no expense.
Beaker.
Oh,
there
Beaker.
That's not perspective. That's how big he really is.
That is a beautiful bird. He's looking at you like, what? What are you talking about, dude?
Oh, please. I'm being held captive.
That's how I feel every week on this show, Doug. I'm feeling very captive.
Adorable. Absolutely adorable.
Beaky boy.
He's beautiful.
He's dangerous.
Yeah.
Anyone who's watching, never get a parrot. Don't let what happened to me happen to you.
You're a cautionary tale.
He won't get off me. He wants to be here for this.
Well, I mean, there could be worse problems, right? I mean,
Yeah, he's really cute.
yeah, he really is, and he knows it. I think probably.
Yeah, he knows.
I think so.
So, Doug, one of the exciting things, and one of the reasons we reached out to you this week is because you have a documentary coming up. I mean, you've been actively working on planning and shooting with director Jason Smith, I believe it is, and you're in crowdfunding stage now. So, how did the idea to put Drex on film kind of come about?
Oh, Jason. I mean, I never thought anyone would care, and maybe they don't. But I mean, we ran into each other at, I guess it was the Talleyrand over in Burbank, a diner that a lot of show business people go to. And I was going out, he was coming in. I didn't know he actually worked in the business. And we chatted and, anyway, he called me a month later and said, I'd love to do, have you as a subject of a documentary. Your career has been so eclectic. I mean, of course, there's the major Star Trek element, but it's, I thought he was crazy. I tried to talk him out of it, but he wouldn't listen to me.
That's incredible. I mean, yeah, to think about, that there's a documentary being made about yourself has got to be pretty humbling in a sense.
It's difficult in some ways. You got to talk about yourself like you're something special, and you're not.
Well, you are.
Yeah.
You are. Jason's awesome. I knew he worked in the business and I knew he worked professionally, but I don't think I'd seen anything that he'd done. And when he did the first trailer for the fundraising, I was like, whoa, this guy is pretty good. There's a rhythm to it, that not everybody understands. He's got a rhythm. He understands rhythm.
How far along are things right now in the whole process? Now, if you go, anybody listening, if you go to drexlerfilm.com, you're going to see a link that'll take you right to the fundraising. Great little movie just on the fundraising page about what's going on, showing a little bit about your history and everything. But how are things progressing so far?
Well, I mean, we're over 50% at this point, like 54% funded. We still have 20 days. I mean, it was only, Monday was like 1 week.
Yeah.
Which I guess is pretty good. And then I'm told there's a lull in the middle and then it picks up again at the end. And
okay.
I mean, by no means is this a sure thing. If you're watching 25 cents a buck, $10,000.
Somewhere in between. Yeah.
It's like you said, it has done great so far. And we want everybody to go out and donate to it because I think it would be great to get that. I mean, also in all seriousness, Doug, I know that we've been joking a little bit. You are like one of the legends of what the Star Trek universe has become.
It's crazy.
Over 60 years. Plus all of the other incredible work that you've done. So I, for one, am going to be out there and I'm going to be supporting you and looking forward to seeing this come to fruition.
Hey, look, if this works out, it could become a series. It could be Trek Stars.
There you go.
So good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bill, don't get your hopes up. You're not going to be on it.
Oh, he's an episode.
I'm out of here.
Parrot's laughing.
That's awesome. Bill, come back. I'm just kidding. You can come back. It's amazing to think about. There's so many things that you can actually bring into this documentary about all the different things that you've done. Is there anything in your career that really is a standout? Of course, the Academy Award is of course incredible, but is there anything that really stands out that you really want to make sure you bring home in this documentary because it's really something that is very strong in your heart?
Gee, that isn't where I expected. I thought you were going to say what thing have I done that I'm most proud of? That's a tough question.
Well, then what's the thing that you've done that's most proud of?
I mean, it's great to do several enterprises. That's like mind-boggling, and it's like, which ones do I want more? The Academy Award or the Enterprises. No, I don't know. Can I think on it? You know, those are both really, really powerful for me.
I would have to say that having a 6-foot Enterprise in your living room is probably pretty more impressive than a 6-foot Oscar. I'm just going to say that. I'm just throwing it out there.
Maybe which is strange, but and my whole life has been kind of nutty, and the more you know about me, the nuttier you realize it is. You know, that it happened this way because my history for Star Trek goes back to when it first aired. I watched the whole first season, first run in black and white. Didn't even see it in color. And Star Trek has been an important part of my life all the way through. I mean, when they tried to cancel it in 1967 or 8 or whatever it was, there was the Save Star Trek Committee, which I'm like 13 years old, I guess, and I'm in the newspapers. I was like, there's a whole article about me, Harvey Aronson did for Newsday, that I was a geeky kid at school that no one wanted anything to do with, and now I'm in the newpaper, and instantly I'm like, cool, what happened? How did I get to be cool out of nowhere, And it's just Star Trek has always been there. As far as my aesthetic, it's always been the 1964-65 New York World's Fair, which led to Star Trek, That's where its visual aesthetic comes from,
Right.
But did I answer anybody's question, or did I just run off to nowhere?
Oh, you answered it
No,
great.
you answered it great. I totally got the sense of where you were going with that. Wait, we got to get Beaker a solo later. There we go.
Hey, buddy, what's up?
Too, baby.
Oh my God, it's adorable. I know that this may be more of an actor type of thing question, Doug, but because you were involved in Trek so long during that stretch with TNG up through Enterprise, we've heard of stories of actors that felt kind of, I don't know, pigeonholed is the right word. Once they were in Star Trek for so long that it was hard for them to get new roles because everybody was talking about it was this particular person from Trek, and that's what everybody thought of. After your time after Enterprise ended and you continue to go on do different things, of course you've had an incredible career, so probably the answer is no. But did you feel that was a plus or a minus having so much Star Trek?
Please pigeonhole me. Spaceships and science fiction and that type of design. I don't care.
Good.
I've done other stuff, but
I like it.
And really, this is what I want to do, and this is the kind of work I want. I'm most passionate about. I mean, designing a diner is okay, I guess. Star Trek has always been at the forefront for me. I'm like tickled that if people relate me to Star Trek, I think that's absolutely freaking awesome.
That is awesome.
Star Trek design is not like other science fiction design.
Mm-hmm.
These are not just science fiction designs. Matt Jeffries referred to it. I mean, look, there's sci-fi design over here, and over here where the bird is, there's what they call aviation logic. Like him, he has aviation logic all over him. You don't do these designs as if they're just a flight of fancy.
Mm-hmm.
There's certain rules that you follow, and certain things look a certain way. When I walk around the 6-foot Enterprise and I see details I put in there that are directly from the original ship, on the intercoolers, and it's all there. You could see that where it's going.
That's great.
It's not a disconnect. Star Trek should never disconnect. That's why I don't like the idea of multiverses. But
I like the Mirror Universe, though, but that's the only one.
So, in what way was the Orville different? Because obviously, with Battlestar, there are some things you had to kind of, pay homage to and keep kind of the same, or at least recognizable. The Orville was its own different, unique, original thing. So, was it more on the sci-fi side, or is it more on the Star Trek side?
I think that the Orville aspires to be Star Trek.
Oh, sure.
Sometimes it surpasses it. Any designs that I'm involved with, like when I first got there, were a few things that I looked at and I said, there's no logic here. Like, for instance, the the floor on the hangar bay, the graphics on the hangar bay. I looked at it and I'm like, I have no idea what this does. And it's important that when you look at it, you go, oh, that's a lift. That's a lift. This is a path that you follow. It spells it out. It's clear that it has a function. And so there were a few things on the show that I was thrilled that when, Stephen and Robert came to me and asked me to change them because I thought they were things that were wrong, like the floor of the hangar bay made no sense at all. I made it like I would do it for Star Trek,
Right.
The back of the bridge. The first 2 seasons, the back of the bridge, all the good stuff is on the sides.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're either looking towards the captain, which is the back of the bridge, or the main viewing screen. So that means half the time you're looking at the characters and there's nothing going on.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the first things that bothered me when I saw the bridge. I think Dorothy said, it looks like a favorite shoe store. And she was right. And Stephen and Robert and Seth knew it. And when I came on, I was like, boy, what I could do with that. And like the first week I was there, they came up and they said, guess what we want you to do? Do the back of the bridge. And that was exciting for me to do that. It's got the tech now and it's believable. It looks like it does something. It's awesome. And thank you, Stephen and Robert and Seth for letting me do that. That was such a kick. Right?
What did you think about how the Enterprise D bridge restoration project came out? I mean, and I guess to preface that question with, was it a disappointment knowing that the original sets were no longer in existence? And was it even better to be able to build them again exactly the same way, but with the updated modern technology that we saw?
They were much better off rebuilding from scratch.
Yeah.
Think about it, how old that stuff would be by now if they had saved any of it. And it's better to redraw it, come up with better materials. Like we use things like pool noodles on the ceiling, for where curves, and they didn't have to do that. Yeah. It was really a much more finished. Don't get me wrong, the bridge from TNG was awesome.
Yeah.
But this was actually, a step or two better than what we actually had back then. Yep. The backlights weren't backlights; they were monitors, but they still looked like the backlights, which was great.
Yeah.
Mike worked with them to make sure that the colors, even though we used certain gels, looked another way entirely on the television. You'd see more blue happening, which really none of the gels did that. We had some purples,
Mm-hmm.
What they did was absolutely the best way to do it. Was the best way to do it. I would not say that if it wasn't so gorgeous in person. I'm on that bridge, man. As a makeup artist.
Yeah.
Lots and lots of time on it. I knew what every bit. I knew what it felt like to walk up the incline. If it was off, I would have known. Because it was so perfect. Come on, that big rail, that wooden rail, getting that right.
Yeah.
To get the curves right, but then to get the wood grain, which is hand painted. It's not real wood.
It's incredible.
That grain like that, they painted on it.
Yeah.
To get that to feel right to someone who watched every single episode 6 times, that's like really, really crazy stuff, man. They did such an amazing job on that.
It was fantastic. So it looks like we have one of our watchers, Dave, has a question. Love Starship Troopers. How did that compare to TNG and Battlestar?
Well, how does he mean? I never worked on Starship Troopers.
Oh, okay.
Well, that would do it.
That would do it. All right. Sorry. That's all right. There you go, David.
I worked on Roughnecks that Foundation Imaging did. That was an animated CG show.
Gotcha. That's right. I remember that.
Right. So, again, the Kickstarter campaign is out there for everybody to see. Head over to drexlerfilm.com to look it up, check things out.
We'll come looking for you.
That's right. Before we go, Doug, I did want to take a personal moment to talk to you about something dear to my heart, and I know that it has affected you and your loved ones as well. People who know me know that my dad was diagnosed with prostate cancer back in the late 90s, went through a lot of experimental procedures, and was able to have a great life for almost 20 years before he passed away from the disease. I know that from following you on Facebook, you're very open about sharing your experience with it. How are you doing? How are things going? And what can you tell us about this particular journey that you're on right now?
Yeah, I mean, I'm doing great. I just had a PET scan about a month ago, and there's nothing at this
Good.
point.
Excellent.
But it was a long road getting from there. The thing was that I got the prostate cancer while Dorothy had cancer. We both had cancer at the same time. I'm taking care of her. She could barely move. It was really,
Wow.
it was like worst case scenario, the way it happened. I had my prostate removed completely. If I had gone to the doctor earlier, I might not have had to have it removed. I'm okay.
Yep.
The only thing I would tell people is go to the doctor every year, because if there is something happening with cancer, it's about when you catch it.
Right.
To catch it in time where they can keep it under control. I had to have the prostate taken out, and it was fairly well along, and they didn't know whether they had gotten it all. And they did readings on me like a few months after the surgery, and the doctor said, your PSA levels, which is a level they measure, prostate specific antigen, that it was high. They said that maybe they didn't get everything. And I said, Dorothy was gone now. I had such a horrible time with the hospital, and it was dreadful. I could not stand to see another doctor, and he wanted me to get radiation. I didn't do it. I said, no, I won't be doing that. And I went through the whole thing trying to live without Dorothy. That was really hard.
Yeah.
But then I ran into Donna. A lot of you know about Donna.
Yes, yes.
Who we've been together 3 years now, and she's incredible. And now for the last 4 years, I haven't gone to the doctor to have it checked, knowing that there was a possibility it had been growing all this time.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go. I was afraid to go. I didn't go. I was living in the shadow. Don't live in the shadow. Find out. It was done. I didn't feel like I had anything to live for, so I wasn't checking it. And when Donna came along, I had a reason to, and she made me go. She made me go. And they did the blood test, and they said your A is high.
Yeah.
And they said you should get a PET scan. And I'm thinking, oh man, this is it. I shouldn't have put it off. Why did I put it off? Why? And I went and I had the PET scan. And when I went to the urologist to have it read, he just like put his hands up and said, there's nothing. He said, your PSA numbers are high, but there's nothing.
Good.
Wow. And I burst out laughing. I remember when I went out and told Donna, I didn't realize the doctor had come out, was behind the counter, and I'm telling her, and he just goes, go, live life, enjoy life.
Nice.
I mean, I will go every, 6 months to be checked because I want to be around. But I didn't care for a long time. The best message I could tell anyone is don't put anything off. You will regret it if something happens because you need that time. You need to catch it. They can control it if it's early on. If it metastasizes, it could go other places. It could get into your lymph nodes. It could, Getting this cancer is pretty common over 60. There's a good chance you're going to get it. And if you want a fighting chance to deal with it, go to your doc. Go every year to the doctor. Don't put it off. I put it off like 4 years, and then COVID hit, and I didn't want to go out. And that was a couple of years. If all of that hadn't happened, everything has worked out, so it doesn't matter. I feel great.
Nice.
We're all going to die someday.
Well, you look great. We saw you in Vegas and not this past year, but the year before, and you look awesome. And obviously Donna is a fantastic part of your life, and I'm glad that you have her after Dorothy's unfortunate passing. And thank you for putting a spotlight on it. That's something that my dad felt compelled to do. We wanted more men to understand exactly what was going on. So thank you for sharing those stories on your social media as it was going on. It's very much appreciated. I do want to remind everybody once again to head over to drexlerfilm.com, check out the Kickstarter program, donate, make this happen so that we can get a Trek Star documentary created. Doug, we cannot thank you enough for joining us tonight to tell us all about your amazing career, all the fun things you do, showing us your wonderful bird, all the great stuff. It's just so great to see you, and hope to see you again in person. I will ask that once the credits are going to roll, once we wrap up, please hang on. Bill and I'd like to talk to you a little bit after we wrap up, but it's so great to see you. Thank you so much.
Oh, it was fun. Anytime.
For now, everybody, we'll see you next week. We hope you all live long and prosper.
Take care, all.